Hello, Lakeview Online Classes. Hopefully you are enrolled in Government A online, Government B online, World at War, World War II, or World at War, 9/11 and the War on Terror, or a class called Cultural Literacy. So I am not able to be there with you this week. So this video hopefully will get you started and answer any questions you might have. I will be back next week when we can double check to make sure everything is working and how you log in and make sure that you understand the whole process. For most of your classes, they're pretty straightforward, pretty easy to understand. Cultural literacy is a little more difficult, but I think you can figure it out. So there are somewhere in the library 5 pieces of paper that you need to pick up. And so I kind of want to go through those 5 pieces of paper with you. The first one, how about the first 2? There's 2 documents that need your signature and your parent's signature. And so please fill these out. Take one of each of these, fill them out, and bring them back to the library. There'll be a big envelope on the front counter. You can stick them in there. But please bring them in as soon as you possibly can. Then there is an instruction sheet that tells you how to log into the 2 platforms that we're going to be using. And we want to make sure that you can log into those. And so I am going to share my screen right now and take you through how you might log in to both of the sites. The first one's called Moodle. And so if you follow the instructions, it says go to lakeviewspartans.org. So you go to lakeviewspartans.org, and this is not what you might expect, but you'll click on the staff tab up here at the top. So once you click on staff and you scroll down, you want to look for something called Moodle Online Learning. It'll be over here on the right-hand side, Moodle Online Learning. And then you click on that. And you'll come to a screen that hopefully looks something like this. Notice there's a bunch of classes here, Lakeview High School on Moodle, but you just need to find the one that you're signed up for and click on it. And it's going to take you to a login screen. At this time, you just use the same information that you would normally use to log into any Lakeview High School Chromebook. Now listen, if these steps aren't working for you for some reason, you can always pause this video and go work on this to make sure that something is working. So anyways, when you log into Moodle again, and this is just using the same logins as you would to the Chromebook, and all of this is explained in the handout that you'll get in class and that will take you through this process. But so once you log in, here's the thing. If you've never used Moodle before, it's going to ask you to fill out your name and an email address, and then it's going to send you an email to that email address to make sure that you're not a robot. So you have to go to that email address, click on the link, and prove that you're not a robot. And then you probably have to restart Moodle, log off of Moodle, and then try it again. Somewhere there's going to be a screen that asks you for the enrollment key. And you want to find the enrollment key for the student, not for a guest. And you'll see on the handout the different enrollment keys for the different classes. For Government A, the enrollment key is House A. For Government B, it's Senate B. For World War II, it's D-Day. For 9/11, it's September 11. And for Cultural Literacy, it's Oscar. So that might take you a few minutes to log into Moodle. And so if you want to pause the video now to make sure that you can figure out how to do that, then feel free to do that. But otherwise, and feel free to ask people around you if they're getting in. Mrs. Lincoln has knowledge and skills in getting logged into Moodle, so feel free to try all those. But just want to make sure we get into Moodle. Once you do that, however, And every one of these classes, they all look the same. For the next 12 weeks, you will be implementing, going through these, we call them smart charts. And so like next week is week 2. So you just come into the library, click on Monday under the instruction part of the smart chart. It'll tell you what you're supposed to do, watch these videos, read these articles, think about these things. And then on the right-hand side of the chart is what the assignment for that day is. So you can click on the assignment here, and it will take you to something that's called Illuminate for this day's assignment. And so let us make sure we can log into Illuminate. If you haven't logged into Moodle, then I would suggest you pause this and make sure you can do that before you try to log into Moodle. But guess what? In Moodle, before you can log into Illuminate. For Illuminate, you go back to lakeviewspartans.org, but in this time, instead of staff, you click on students. And down here, it says, here is the Illuminate student portal. It'll take you to a site that looks something like this. Your username here is the same username that you use to log into your Chromebook. Now the password, if you've used Illuminate before, you have changed the password to something already. If you have never used Illuminate, the password should be Spartans1 with a capital S and a numeral 1 at the end, Spartans1. Now, if you've logged into Illuminate before and you can't remember the password, I can change your password. So you can drop me an email. It says I need a new password, and I can do that for you. Okay, so those are the only 2 platforms that we're using here in the class. So that's really the main goal of week 1 is to just get us logged in. Actually, I want to show you one more thing in the screen share. Once you do get things going and you've logged into both things, at the top of all the Moodles, there's something that says first week schedule. And so I would click on that. These are the things that I want you to do here in the first week. There's a couple surveys, and there's placing a current event there. And so just kind of get in the sense of things, making sure everything makes sense to you. So let me tell you a little bit about cultural literacy, because there is like 15 of you that are taking cultural literacy, and your page is going to look a little different. First of all, once you log in, there's these different tasks that I want you to do on the first week. And so you can kind of see, you can click on this and it'll tell you a little bit about, I don't know what that means. Maybe it's not going to tell you about what the class is all about, but you can start talking, and you can click on representation. It'll tell you a little bit about what representation is, and there's a little assignment for you to do. So there's only 3 of those assignments here in the first week, and they're a couple of them are kind of fun, I think. The cultural literacy, your whole class is a little different, and you can kind of see here, your assignment will be due the Friday of every week, and you're going to watch an assigned artifact or read an assigned artifact. And I don't have your Google Doc chart, but it's going to look something like this. So your names will be over here, and then it'll tell you which artifact that you'll be analyzing over here. And all you really have to do is, so let's say you were Josh and you were assigned Slaughterhouse 5. If you click on Slaughterhouse 5, it'll take you to the analysis form, and it will tell you, it'll ask you some questions along the top. Your name will be on the bottom, and you just have to fill in the answers to the questions. Now notice that everyone can see everyone else's answers. So we kind of want to build on each other's answers throughout the course of the semester. So yeah, you just kind of follow along there. There's also these wildcards that are due. These can be analyses of any movie or novel that you've ever read or watched. And so you can see the due dates that are listed there. There's also this big chart that has every book and movie that I thought was worth analyzing. So, like we said, Slaughterhouse-Five is one of the books we read. And you can find it here and you can click on it. And you don't really have to read the book because here's John Green telling you about the book and here's me telling you about the book. And there's some articles about what the book means. And so we don't expect you to read the 3 novels that are on the required list because we tell you the stories already. So that's how cultural literacy works. And I know that's a little complicated, but please, again, this first week is just to kind of get you familiar with those 2 platforms, Moodle and Illuminate. Cultural literacy, you do not need Illuminate at all, so don't worry about that. So a couple of things then just about how the class works. When you come into the library and use the Chromebooks here, make sure that you sign up and put your name that you've taken this Chromebook. That's the only way that you're allowed to use the Chromebooks, if you actually sign them out. Again, there's no food or drink allowed in the library, so don't even contaminate this area with that. You can go to the cafeteria and you can eat food there or whatever, but don't bring it here in the library. Don't use your phone unless it's for the online class. You know, some people can get to Moodle through their phone, but otherwise don't even make anyone try to look for it. Yeah, don't forget about once you log into the Moodle, one of the first things we ask you to do is to watch the video that explains a little bit about how Moodle works. So, for example, let's look at Government B. So there is a video here that you can play that will tell you a little bit about how the Moodle site operates. If you have any questions about that, it all explains this whole process right here. So please take some time maybe and look at some of that. Okay, so just to recap, when you come into the library on Monday, you want to grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of paper. 2 of them are the permission forms that you need signed, and bring them back to the library as soon as possible. 1 form is the instructions of how to log into Moodle and Illuminate. Another form is the grade sheet that I use, and you can have a copy of it if you want or not. I want to tell you a little bit about grading. So I grade every Tuesday, and I grade the previous week's work. So you have a little leeway and flexibility about when in that week to do the work that's assigned. So, for example, I'll grade week 2's assignment on Tuesday of week 3. Okay, so I put your grades on a sheet that looks like this, and then I send you an email on Wednesday. I can't tell you how important that email is. That email will tell you what your grade is and how many missing assignments you have, and then you must return that email, reply to my email. Oh, I'll ask you a couple questions too. So usually something about the class and usually something about the world and how you're living in it. So I want you to respond to that email by answering those questions by Friday of every week, by 8 a.m. on Friday. This is how we take attendance in this class. Besides this, you do not have to be in the library. You don't have to be in the cafeteria. If you're in the building, you must be in the library or the cafeteria, but those are the only places that you're allowed if you stay here at the school. But if you have this online class, for example, during first block, and you have transportation, you can stay home and sleep in maybe and do this work at some other time. But regardless, every Wednesday I'm going to send you this email, and it's going to be, hey, you got an A+ with 0 missing assignments. How is the week going? And then again, you must respond by Friday at 8 a.m. on Friday. At that time, I send you the names of the people who haven't replied to the office, and then they crack down on you, and sometimes there's punishment for that. We do this because, like I said, this is how we take attendance, and we have to prove that you're actual students here, and so it's that important. There is a list of dates you can see here that says when I will be sending emails and when they're due. And so you can, again, grab one of these if you want. They might help you. And then the last piece of paper is going to be a half sheet, but I haven't cut them yet. And it'll say, you can just maybe follow along, right? There's two important dates. Two important dates. One is January 18th. That's the end of the first marking period. So all work that had been assigned up to that point will be due that following Tuesday. And it kind of gives us a nice break. And it kind of gives those of you who are struggling to like keep up on things or motivate yourself, it kind of gives you that deadline there and halfway through the trimester to be like, I need to get caught up in the first half. So remember that date, January 18th is important. And then February 13th. You all must be here at the library on February 13th. There are no exceptions to that. February 13th is what's called count day. And so we need to physically see you in this class on that day to prove that you are a student. And so I put those dates down in bold print on this handout, so please take those. Maybe put them in your calendar on your phone if you have one, but please do not forget those two dates. My email is everywhere. So I don't know if this is still working. I hope something happened. It crashed. Anyways, my email is everywhere, and so you can email me at any time or drop me a text on my cell phone. That number is 269-209-4268, 269-209-4268. If you have any questions along the way, then please feel free to let me know. And I think that's about it for now. Good luck, and I'll see you soon.